In this clip, we'll be exploring on how to make different kinds of pleats in MD. Now you could make pleats by hand, of course, implementing the necessary sewing, but we'll be using a built-in feature that makes this process much easier and faster for us. Now before jumping in and creating a skirt though, we will first get to know the pleats fold options and what kind of effects we're able to create. So first of all, I did not open the file with our avatar and the outfit that we have so far, since I will only be demonstrating the pleats tool that can be found here. Usually it's going to be around here on your screen, but because I have a smaller screen resolution, mine is hidden over here. So this is the pleats tool. And we're going to start off by creating a rectangle that's fairly big. Now, this tool we're about to use works on the principle of internal lines. So the internal lines are alternating between one fold angle to another and generating the pleats effect. So we'll need to split the upper line and the bottom line and then connect all of these points with internal lines. And we're going to do that by taking our Edit Pattern tool, and we're first going to select this line, right click and select Split. We're going to select the last option that lets us split the line into a number of segments, and we're going to do 9 and hit OK. And we're also going to do the same for the bottom line. So right click, split, and input the number of segments to be 9 and hit OK. Next, we will need to connect these points with internal lines, and we're going to do that by offsetting this line as an internal one, which we have already done in the previous clips. So select the line, right click, and choose Offset as Internal Line. Now the distance is going to be something much greater, like maybe more than 100 millimeters. So let's try 150. Okay, now just manually push this distance up until the internal line is closer to the point. So for me, somewhere around 170 millimeters will do. And I'm just gonna push up the number of internal lines that I need. And maybe I need to make the distance even greater. So something like that, and hit OK. Alright, now that we have the internal lines installed, we can begin by using the Pleats Fold tool. So remember to go to your tool palette and grab it. Once you have it selected, you click once on the beginning of the rectangle and double click while you get to the end of the rectangle. And this is basically showing MD which direction you want your pleats to be. And a dialog box opens that lets us choose between 3 different kinds of pleats, and you also have a visual representation of how each pleat looks like. Now you'll see when I change between these 3 pleats, you can see how the internal lines are also changing in the rectangle. So the yellow lines that are the outside folds have a 0 fold angle, and the blue ones that have a 360 angle. So let's for starters choose the first one, the knife pleats, and hit OK. Now before we simulate, we're going to go to our object browser and open up our Scene tab and find the simulation property. Click on it and find the gravity option and set it to 0. And hit enter. So this way, while we simulate this rectangle, it won't fall to the ground. And now we're able to start simulating. And you can see how the pleat tool is slowly generating the effect of the knife pleats, and you can actually see the angle of the lines pulling the fabric, each to their own direction, and thus establishing the effect. So as you can see, we could actually make this effect manually on our own, but this pleat option makes it extremely easier for us. Okay, so these are the knife pleats. Let's also try some different options. So double click again. Let's try the box pleats. Hit OK. And observe the effect. And the last one are the accordion pleats. So we can take a look at the last option as well. It might take a while to simulate. Alright, so now that we know the basic principles of the pleats tool, we can now begin by sewing our pleats onto a waistband and wrapping it around our avatar, which we will do in the next clip.